everyone. Now, of course, as my man, Undisputed World Champ, always says, highlight of Friday nights. Last Saturday, no one expected this trade to come. Luka Doncic traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers, I'm reading an article here from Dave McMenamin of ESPN. In a blockbuster trade that figures to impact the Western Conference balance of power for years to come, the Lakers, Mavericks, and Utah Jazz completed a three-team trade that sends Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers and Anthony Davis to Dallas Mavericks. The Lakers received Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris from the Mavericks, who announced the trade Sunday morning. Dallas acquired Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick. The Utah Jazz, on the other hand, received Jalen Hood-Schifino and the Los Angeles Lakers' 2025 second-round pick and the Dallas Mavericks' 2025 second-round selection. All of us, I can say for all of us, we were totally astounded with the trade. Because why would the Dallas Mavericks trade a 25-year-old superstar who's made 5 consecutive first-team All-NBAs, a perennial All-Star, a perennial MVP candidate, who led the NBA in scoring, who can average around 38 and 9, who's been to multiple Western Conference Finals appearances, an NBA Finals appearance? Well, it's been reported that Luka Doncic has had weight and conditioning problems. Matter of fact, he reached up to the high 260s. I think the reason why they traded Luka because they had enough of Luka's weight and conditioning problems. This is not the first time with Luka with weight and conditioning problems. Back in 2021, it was reported that when he showed up to training camp, he was at 260 pounds, 30 pounds above his listed weight. I think, look, and I saw that press conference with Nico Harrison, the GM of the Dallas Mavericks, and Jason Kidd. Boy, Jason Kidd looked disgusted. He looked disgusted. It looked like, to me, I'm speculating, looked like he wanted to slap the bleep out of Nico Harrison, because how in the hell do you trade a 25-year-old generational talent even if he's had weight and conditioning problems? And the Lakers, they did pick up the Williams kid from Charlotte after they traded the guy who they drafted out of Tennessee. I think the Lakers, so far, they're looking really good, champ. And after all, you are the Lakers fan. The only concerns that I have with the trade, with the Luka trade, how is he and Braun going to play together? Because both are ball dominant. Now, you needed a point guard, especially the fact that you moved on from D'Angelo Russell. So I think Luka is there to play the 1. You're going to have to let Braun play the 3 position because if the two are together, both are ball dominant. And unlike Braun, Luka doesn't move well off the ball, and he's not known for defense. So those are the concerns there. The other concern I have with Luka in Los Angeles, and it has nothing to do with the Lakers or him living up to the Lakers' expectations. The lifestyle in Los Angeles. If you having weight and conditioning problems in Dallas, what do you think you're going to be heading into Los Angeles with the lifestyle, with the parties, with the atmosphere there? Granted, he does have LeBron James there for the next couple of years. What better way to learn from one of the best, one of the greatest of all time in LeBron James, not only on, but also off the court? So I think if anybody can get to Luka's ear, it should be LeBron. But in the end, it's up to Luka. I think his weight and conditioning was the real reason why Dallas just traded him. And besides, they didn't want to pay him the super max, which is 5 years, $345 million. So Luka ended up missing about $116 million. A lot of money. So as dumbfounded as this trade was, it is on Luka Doncic at the end of the day. Luka has to accept culpability in this one, because if Luka Doncic was in shape and conditioning, there would be no trade. Luka gave them a reason for the Mavericks to trade him. I don't agree with the trade. I think it was a bad. I don't agree with the trade at all. And again, what makes it so shocking, they didn't even inform Luka. They didn't even tell him that he was going to get traded. Normally, a player of Luka's caliber, it's usually him demanding a trade, not the other way around. You don't trade someone of Luka Doncic's caliber who's made, like I said, 5 consecutive first team All NBAs. You don't trade a guy like Luka who's giving you that great production, regardless of his weight and conditioning problems. This has got to be the craziest. I mean, this has got to be the trade of the century or the trade of all time because no one imagined or anticipated this trade. Undisputed world champ, as a Los Angeles Lakers fan as you are, I'll let you go. The floor is yours.
Showtime! It's showtime once again, baby. Okay, all serious. Let's take off my funny hat and put on my professional hat. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just gonna be real. I know that Luka got the reason why he got traded. Me and Luka was down the street at Daiquiris and Po' Boys one night, and the Po' Boys with the oysters and gator tails. It get good after a good night. That
were you hanging out with Zion as well?
Yeah, a couple of cans of Foster's, stuff like that. That'll get the juices going. But in all seriousness, look, I really believe this. I believe that this was a business trade. I believe that they was not comfortable. He would have been the highest paid player in the NBA, period. And I don't think that a lot of these owners are comfortable with paying that kind of money to these players because they're on tier 2 contracts at this point. Once you start paying players $300 million contracts of that magnitude, it's only a matter of time before it goes into 500,000 and gets heavier consequences. And people don't understand this. Those contracts have consequences on the cap room. You paying a player $86 million a year, you can't get nobody else. You can't get him any help. You having that one star on your team, granted, it puts butts in seats, but how many championships are you going to get with just one player? It's not that many players in this league that can, make chicken salad out of chicken, what. Not that many players. LeBron is probably the only player, LeBron and maybe a few players, and Larry Bird and Magic. They're the only players that I've seen just come into a place automatically, and guess what? You're a contender. So there's not that many guys like that. So I think it was more of a business decision of not wanting to pay him $346 million and pay it. I don't think owners are that comfortable yet. And look for more trades like this as guys start approaching these $300 million contracts. This is not the last time we're going to see this type of trade. Mark my words. This is not the last time we're going to see this type of trade. Now, as far as Luka goes, guess what? You do need to do a better job on your strength and your conditioning and things of like that. But the thing is, owners in the front office, I believe they do lie. Because the thing is, unlike Zion, this has never interfered with his play. Unlike Zion, Luka's performance never suffered because of how much his weight fluctuated. Unlike Zion. So they can put that excuse if they want to, but it's in my humble opinion that they was not comfortable with paying him that max and with using up all of that cap room that they had with that big old contract. Because like I said, what are you going to do after he signed? You can only sign one of those supermax players. And I don't think the owners are yet comfortable with paying those players at this point in time that type of money, Mr. Watson. But the thing is, I really don't believe that. As far as the Dallas Mavericks go, look, I hope that you are right for your sake. I hope that you are able to win a championship with this group that you have. Because if you don't, it's gonna go down in history as one of the worst trades in NBA history. And Luka is only 25 years old. Last time we had a superstar of that age in Los Angeles, there was a bright future ahead of him, even after winning 3 championships with the great Shaquille O'Neal. Rest in peace to the late great Kobe. So this is the first time we've gotten a superstar not even in his prime. He ain't even touched his ceiling as of yet. This is the first time since Kobe, when Kobe was young, that we had a superstar that big in Los Angeles. And I'm not talking about, we all know LeBron, but I'm talking about very, very young. I mean, and very, not even in his prime. He at least, if he does it right, has 10 wonderful years left, if not 15. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. But Dallas, you better hope for your sake that you can get a championship with this group, because if not, it's going to go down in history as a huge blunder, because you traded an all-generational player to get Anthony Davis, which I understand he has been healthy over the course of the past 2 years, and this is the healthiest he's ever been, but he does have a history of injuries, and he's not getting any younger. He's not getting any younger. So to put things in perspective, am I going to say any team won at this point? No, they both won. The Lakers have a superstar that after LeBron leaves, they're not only going to be able to put some butts in the seats, but they're going to be able to attract free agents. Who doesn't want to play with Luka? Who doesn't want to play with a Luka Doncic? They're going to be able to attract free agents.
Not to mention LA.
Yeah. When you are winning and you have a promising player like a Luka, that attracts free agents. And it's going to be interesting to see this. The Lakers are the 5th seed in the West right about now. So if they can come together, him and LeBron, because LeBron is playing lights out right about now. If they can figure out each other in a quick moment, might be something ugly going down the stretch at the All-Star weekend. I don't know. But big ups to the NBA, because the NFL got y'all on Christmas, but y'all turned around and say, oh, it's like that. Oh, we're gonna get y'all right on y'all. We're gonna make this trade in the middle of y'all biggest week in the world.
Isn't it shocking, champ? Because again, we were talking a week before the Super Bowl and on the day of the Royal Rumble.
Yes, on the day of, the NBA completely, I don't really see, and I could be wrong. And like I said, that's how come I'm glad I got you two here to check. I could be wrong, but the NBA news has dominated this week. The Super Bowl has become an afterthought at this point.
Shocking to say it has, ever since they traded Luka, and then later on with the De'Aaron Fox trade, which we'll get into, and as well as with Jimmy Butler, that's been the talk. And look, maybe that could be the blueprint for the NBA, because again, before these trades, we weren't even talking much about the NBA. We were just talking about football, the stories and stuff, and we will get into that. But man, NBA, they really did their thing. Adam Silver's kind of looking back and saying, okay, we kind of lost our ratings a little bit, but hey, I kind of like the attention we are getting right now. But Champ, you did just Hey, shout out to Rob Pelinka. He did his thing, and even it was reported when they introduced the idea to the Mavs owner. Correct me if I'm wrong, Champ. He even laughed about the Luka trade.
Yeah, he laughed. But the thing is this, like I said, I don't think that this was, they're going to say we have concerns about his weight, but his performance has not suffered. It's one thing when your performance suffers when you gain a little bit of weight. Trust me, I know. When my weight fluctuated when I was in the amateurs, guess what? My performance suffered, and in boxing, you can't do that. But I digress. But when your performance does not suffer at all and you are steady pace, and I think he's top 5 in the league right now and scoring right now, and he's missed time. So, like I said, I don't think it was so much of his conditioning. If they would have traded Zion and they said that, okay, right on. I understand completely.
Given the fact that he has a weight clause.
Yes, absolutely. But when you trade Luka and you're talking about, oh yeah, you know, his condition wasn't in question, his performance never suffered. His performance has never suffered. So I believe that, and like I said, I could be wrong, but I believe wholeheartedly that the NBA was not ready to play a player $80 million a year, because it was only a matter of time before it reached a higher echelon. And like I said earlier, do not be surprised if you hear in the future about another player in his prime getting traded in order to avoid playing him a $300 and something million contract. I don't think the NBA is ready for that right about now. I mean, even in the NFL with Patrick Mahomes, when he got a $500 million contract, that's 10 years. That's 10 years out. That's 50 mil a year. And even as we speak, he's making restructures every single year. But I don't think nobody was ready to pay a player that type of money per year. That's 86 million a year. And then it would have only been a matter of time before a $100 million a year contract came out in the NBA. And I don't think a player was ready for that. Remember this. Remember, back in I think it was 1996. Remember, the Orlando Magic let Shaq get away because they wasn't ready to pay that type of money for Shaq. It took the Lakers in order to pay that money.
Isn't it a coincidence, champ? Because again, in 2019, the Pelicans, they traded Anthony Davis to the Lakers because they didn't want to give Anthony Davis that amount of money.
Yes. A lot of these trades are a little bit more simplistic than we put on. We want to say, oh yeah, it's because of conditioning. It's because of this. When a lot of the time it's just business. I'm not willing to pay you this type of money right now. Especially with the ratings the way it was. As a businessman, you have to think about those things as an owner. And not only that, I think the Dallas Mavericks are getting ready to build a new complex with a casino and everything like that. That type of things, these stadiums are becoming their own amusement parks. If you look at the new stadium layout for the Cleveland Browns Stadium, they have a shopping mall in there and everything. When you look at the new layout for the Buffalo Bills Stadium, it has a shopping mall. It has a little bit of everything. They were getting ready to open up a complex in Dallas with a casino in there, a new casino in there, from my knowledge. So that stuff costs money. And guess what? When you have a player taking up that type of cap space, you're not going to be able to sign too many other players in order to put you in the position to win. So guess what? I will take the risk of paying an Anthony Davis who's playing lights out at this point than to a year from now having to pay Luka almost $100 million a year. And guess what? That contract is only going to go, the next couple contracts is only going to go up. In a minute, we're going to hear about $400 million for 4 years. That's a $100 million contract a year. And guess what? Somebody's going to get traded because they're not willing to pay for that. So I think it's more of a business thing than it was, oh yeah, he's not, but they need it. It's kind of like you trying to leave a place or leave the club and you're looking for a reason to leave. And the first thing you do is you look up at the sky. Oh man, the ceiling leaking. Let me get up out of here before I slip and fall. That's what that was. They just was looking for a reason. And the only valid reason was, his conditioning. It hasn't affected his play. So, and he's 25 years old.
We've seen it before, champ. I mean, James Harden. Remember when he was in Houston? I mean, looked like he came from eating them Hardy burgers or whatever, and then when he was traded to Brooklyn, he looked like skinny Harden.
That's what we call cutting weight fast. It ain't nothing to do that. Just put on that nylon suit, zip yourself up for a couple of days. You'll sweat it off. But the thing was, with that situation, it was different because it's just like James Harden just didn't want to be there anymore.
He didn't.
This one,
And it's not like Luca didn't want to be there. It's just the fact that you know what. But I wish they would have told him about the trade. The fact that you didn't tell him, you didn't even inform him, Luca, we're going to look into trading you. That's unprofessional on the Dallas Mavericks part because wait a minute, you would think of a player, especially one of Luca's caliber, you would have informed him at least.
well, a lot of these organizations do the players wrong. And that's why I say there's no loyalty. I mean, there's no loyalty in this business because guess what? And the thing is, and the funniest part about that, I guarantee you, when he goes back to Dallas, some fans, I didn't say all, some fans are gonna boo him.
Oh, they
Can't
are.
believe you. Yeah. But the thing is, there's no loyalty in this business. That's why I come out and say, hey, if you want to be traded, say you want to be traded. Because guess what? When they do it, oh, it's business. But when one of the players asked for a trade, you're a traitor. No, look what they did to Luca. Luca said he wanted to be a Maverick for life. Mark Cuban even came out and said, hey, if it comes down to trading Luca or divorcing my spouse, goodbye, spouse. He said he's been on record in saying that. That's
Right.
how deep his root. That's how deep Luca's roots is. Plus, he's cool with Dirk and the Ritz, with Dirk, the greatest Mavericks player of all time. So, like I said, this is a new owner. If Mark Cuban was still the owner, Luca would probably the majority. If he was still the majority owner, I would say Luca will probably still be in Dallas. But now that this new ownership is here, I'm not sure that they're comfortable enough to pay him that type of money at this point. And I think they looking like, hey, we pay him this type of money, then who else are we gonna get? How are we gonna spend this money elsewhere? And how are we gonna get other players to come here in free agency? Because you have to look at all of that. You just can't look at one star player because we've seen one star players, one show games be on certain teams and they not do anything. Hell, Michael Jordan before Scottie Pippen, he was a one man game, couldn't do much but get to the first round and lose. Same thing with Kobe. But this isn't the first time we've seen something like this, and it probably won't be the last. Like I said, Shaq left in free agency because the Orlando Magic, at first, I will say, and I do emphasize at first, wasn't willing to pay him the supermax of $120 million, which back then that was big. Today it's peanuts. But there's a lot of teams that's going to be moving on from a lot of players because they're not willing to pay them the supermax. And it's as simple as that. I know these teams try to make you think it's something else, but it's really not. It's just business. I'm trying to save money.
Either way, with Luca's conditioning and stuff like that, Luca get your conditioning together. I mean, you make a champ looking skinny nowadays, man. That's incredibly hard to do.
Yes, it's incredibly hard to do, man. Stay out of daiquiris and po' boys, man. Don't be like me, man. Stay off that Grand Marnier. Stay off that Don Julio. Stay off that Popeye. Stay off all that stuff, man. Get you some water and go out there and run, man. Don't be like me, man. You making hundreds of millions of dollars, and guess what? If they offer me that type of money in order to get all this off me, hey, guess what? I'll be making trips to the bathroom every single day. So guess what? Hey,
BRF.
In the great words, in the great words of Chris Jericho, Nico Harrison, you stupid idiot. Like, what are we like? Look, I mean, I understand the whole like the conditioning and the weight and all that other stuff. I'm sorry to trade a guy who's gotten you to two Western Conference Finals, who basically with his play got you to the NBA Finals last season. To trade a guy like that is more deep rooted than just there was weight and it was his weight and conditioning issues. I'm like, bro, he's had this problem. You've had this problem with him before, and I think that year he got you to the Western Conference Finals the first time. Oh man, it's more deep rooted than that. I'm sorry to trade a top 5 player in the world. We talk about hitting ceilings. This man ain't touched the light on the ceiling fans yet. We talking about hitting ceiling. He ain't close to that yet. And to trade him, it's got to be more deep rooted than that. Like I feel like I feel like as far as like short term, long term, I feel like with the Lakers, I don't like I don't like the depth of their front court right now because I don't care what anybody says. Jackson Hayes as your starting center, I don't think is going to get the job done. That's just that's just how I feel. Jackson Hayes is not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Maybe they pull something down the line. I mean, I think the trade deadline's like pass or whatnot. Maybe they can get a big. I'm sorry, Jackson Hayes just ain't going to do it. Like I look at short term, long term stuff for this Mavericks. You basically got a 2 year window to win a championship. I think you got a 2 year window to win a championship because I feel like that team is currently constructed. If they're 100% and they're like all systems go, and Anthony Davis continues to stay on the floor, and he's not making his debut yet in the Mavericks next game. He's not making his debut yet, but he knows. But you know that I'm pretty sure the next game is coming. So we get to see. So we get to see that full rotation on display. The first few games with the Dallas Mavericks is going to tell a lot as far as what they're going to do for the rest of the season. Their full, like their front court depth, their defense, how everything rolls with them. Because right now you're probably looking at a starting lineup of Kyrie at the point, Clay at the two, PJ Washington at the three, AD at the four, and Derek Lively at the five. That front court's scary. I don't care what anybody says. The way PJ Washington's turned it on this year, and then with Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford coming off the bench, rim protection gives you scoring on the inside, gives you athleticism, bigs that can run the floor in transition, and then AD, who's still a top 5 defensive player in the world, who's still a top 10, in my opinion, overall player in the world. The first few games is going to tell a lot about the Mavericks and what they're going to do as far as like the short term games, because I feel like they got this in the short term. Because I feel like this team, if they are just if the chemistry can come alive and they can really develop, just kind of build that relationship with each other as far as like understanding how the game's going to flow and all that, I feel like this team can do some damage. But at the same time, I will say this though: LeBron James and Luka Doncic is going to be. I think right now they're the scariest duo in the league. I think they are the scariest duo in the league. What the hell is Nico Harrison thinking, giving LeBron James Luka Doncic of all people? I mean, we thought the LeBron AD combo was arguably the scariest combo in the NBA. LeBron and Luka, there is no argument. They are the scariest duo in the league. There is no argument in terms of offense. Both guys being able to create shots, being able to play make, being able to just do whatever they want to do with a basketball in their hand. I think they are the scariest duo in the league. So the main thing with the Lakers in the short term is where's the depth? Who's going to be the depth outside of Austin Reeves for the team? Who's going to do it outside of him? Because now you're having to rely on a Gabe Vincent. I do like Rui Hachimura. I've always liked him. I liked him back in his Washington Wizard days. I've
I
always
do
liked
too.
him. I think I saw. Yeah, exactly. So I think you look. It's basically you got LeBron and Luca, and then your second tier is probably Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and then after that, you're relying on like a Gabe Vincent. You're relying on a Jackson Hayes. You're relying. I mean, and you traded Dalton Connect, which was like dude is a rookie and is already a walking bucket, and you traded him. Now I will say this though. I
They
was
needed a
talking about
big.
Jackson Hayes. I was saying this about Jackson Hayes. Mark Williams,
Yes,
don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him. I
athletic
love
and can do the pick and roll.
exactly. Great rim protection, can finish at the basket. I love that. I think he immediately slots in as your one. I think the Luka Doncic deal isn't as impactful without Mark Williams. Bringing Mark Williams in to solidify the five. Now you got something. You got Luca probably running the one. You got Austin Reeves running the two. You got LeBron at the three. You got Rui at the four. You got Mark Williams at the five. I like that lineup a hell of a lot better than I
And
would have with
Jackson
Jackson
Hayes.
Hayes.
Yeah,
At
because
least with Jackson Hayes is more slotted. He's better. He can be your big off the bench, going up
Yes,
against second team players,
I agree.
being able to out rebound second team players. He can give you a little scoring. He can give you some rim protection. He's better slotted off the bench. This helps the Lakers rotation so many ways, bringing in the Mark Williams.
Not
And
only
this
that,
is
he
why
provides more physicality than Jackson Hayes.
exactly, which is why I think net with a Mark Williams, I think the Mavericks, the gap in the short term would have been a lot wider if LA hadn't brought Mark Williams in. The gap in the short term isn't as bad because the Lakers being 30 and 19, fifth in the West with this lineup that they're about to run out on a nightly basis, and then the depth doesn't look so bad now bringing the Mark Williams in because now you have guys you can slot to the bench who can kind of do their own thing. Gabe Vincent is still a pretty good shooter. He can score. He can score on second team defenses. Jackson Hayes can be physical against second team players. The Lakers got something with this. I really do. I think they can really make some noise with this if everything falls in line. I want to see these two play each other in the playoffs. I want to see these two teams play each other in the playoff, either in the first round or the semifinals. I want to see these teams. I want to see them. I want to see this because I want to see how. I just want to see how they go up against each other. I want to see as the games start to roll in. I want to see the schemes for both teams. I want to see how they play from game to game. I want to see how they're able to adapt. I want to see how they're able to adjust to each other because I think both of these teams could, if the seeds fall into place, these teams could legit play each other in the Western Conference Finals. I really think they can. Honestly, the Luka trade does bring excitement with it. So it's just like I said, it's just a matter of how these teams adapt after the fact. So I'm excited to see it. But Nico Harrison, you are still an idiot because like some of the
Idiot. I
reports,
mean, he delusional. Did you see Jason Kidd's reaction?
Jason Kidd had that like look, man. I saw that press conference and I saw that look on
No, he
Jason
was.
Kidd's face. Jason Kidd looked like got yeah. That's exactly how he looked. That's exactly how he looked. That's exactly how he looked. Jason Kidd looked like You know what Jason Kidd reminded me of? Jason Jason Kidd reminded me of that. Jason Kidd reminded me of that Arthur meme where you look up at Arthur.
The
He
fifth.
looks all content. He looks all happy and stuff like that. And then you pan down and you see his fist, and his fist is like balled up like this, just ready to punch him in the face. That's what that's what it reminded me of. Jason Kidd had this look on his face like, dude, what are you doing? Not just the fact that you traded Luka Doncic, but the fact that this was like 11th, 12th hour. You didn't tell us. So let me tell you something. I woke that morning. I woke up at like 6 o'clock, and I woke up. I'm trying to wake myself up, so I get to my phone. I open IG, and the first thing I see is Luka Doncic in a Lakers uniform, Photoshop, and I'm like, y'all, what? This a prank, right? And I'm like, nah, this ain't real.
I
This
thought
ain't real.
Shams got hacked.
I thought Shams legit got hacked. And then I go to Google and then I see all the news articles and I'm just like, what the hell the Mavericks just do? And now you see the reports. The craziest report that I have heard since the trade. Check this out. This is the craziest report I've heard. Apparently, Nico Harrison's wife was obsessed with Luka to the point she was calling Nico Harrison Nico Doncic. And it made him so uncomfortable. Like straight up, I saw this. I'm just like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If it's deep rooted to the point where Nico wanted to get rid of Luka just from the standpoint he didn't want that kind of unwanted attention there, fire him. Fire that man 2 weeks ago. Fire that man yesterday. And Nico Harrison doesn't exactly have a good reputation as far as like being a leader in certain situations anyway, because you remember he was with Nike and he messed up the whole Steph Curry campaign. He called Steph Curry Seth.
He did.
The dude has a knack for messing up. If I would like to say so myself. So I think with the trade, it kind of works negative from the standpoint of, yeah, if the Mavericks don't win a championship, in my opinion, in the next 2 to 3 years, top five worst trade in sports history. And we got to remember, AD is still a top 10 player in the world. But if the Mavericks don't win a championship in the next 2 to 3 years, top five worst deal in league history.
You know who also
But the
won?
Lakers, but the Lakers also need to solidify this on their end too, because LeBron about to retire the next year too. I think he's going to play next year, but he's about to go. They have to solidify this trade as soon as LeBron leaves. From the standpoint of, when LeBron leaves, somebody got to come in. They got to replace him, and it can't be no mid tier player. It can't. I'll put it to you like this: it can't be no Harrison Barnes. It can't be no mid tier player like that. It's got to be like it's got to be somebody big. It's got to be a big name, like just throwing names out there. It's got to be like an Anthony Edwards level type. It's got to be a Devin Booker level type. It's got to be somebody like that. They got to replace LeBron James with somebody up there, because the reason why the Lakers did this was because they know LeBron's getting ready to retire. Luka's star power is going to be able to recruit people to come to LA. I'm sorry, Luka Doncic in LA. If you are a big name player and you see that, you can't sit here and look me in the face with a straight face and say you wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to go to play with somebody like a Luka Doncic. You are going to go in a heartbeat. If Kyrie can go to Dallas for Luka Doncic, you best believe somebody going to go to Los Angeles for him. So that's the main reason why the Makers made that trade, and I understand completely why they do it, because they know they're getting ready to lose LeBron. So you got to have that continuation of the box office appeal that the Los Angeles Lakers are, and Luka Doncic gives you that, because he's a top five player in the world, giving you 38 and 9 in his sleep. I mean, the dude dropped what? The dude has like what, a 60, 70 point triple double in his career. I mean, the dude is like that. The dude is like that. So, but the late, like I said, they just have to solidify that trade on their end. They got to bring somebody else when LeBron's getting ready to retire. But it's still just it's. I didn't know what to say when it first happened. I didn't know what to say, because I thought it was a prank. I thought Shams got hacked. And then when he hit the tweet, and then when he hit that one tweet where he says, "Yes, this is real," I'm just like, "Oh my god!" And just I'm still like I'm still at a loss for words. But if you analyze it from a basketball perspective, I don't think both teams can really go wrong here, as long as they're producing and they're continuing to win. But I mean, this is gonna if they meet each other in the playoffs, it's gonna be probably one of the more anticipated playoff series we've seen in a long time. So the only thing I'm gonna say, in the words of Terrell Owens, the only thing I'm gonna say is get your popcorn ready, because this the rest of this season after the All Star break, this gonna be wild. This gonna be something to behold.
Go ahead, champ.
I gotta ask y'all this, because you know it's coming, and I'm just trying to beat one of the. I'm just trying to throw this idea out there before one of the talking heads on TV try to say it. If LeBron is able to win, what with Luka? All these GOAT talks are gonna start. All these GOAT talks gonna start back up again. And can we consider him the GOAT at this point, or does he still have a lot more to work for?
There are going to be
I
conversations of it, needless to say.
I mean, if LeBron gets another, I mean, the GOAT talks will probably be as intense as they've ever been. And I seriously think, from my perspective, I think LeBron, if he was to win one with Luka, from my perspective, because I'm still on the line that Michael Jordan is the GOAT of the NBA. I'm almost ready to put LeBron there now. To be honest with you, I just still like, from the perspective of, as long as LeBron has played and as great as he has been, Mike almost has done the same amount of damage statistically in less years. And people and I feel like Michael, from an offensive standpoint, even though he wasn't the point, even though he's not the point creator that LeBron is, the assist guy that LeBron is, but he's still one of the greatest in history as far as point creation for his team. That says a lot to the skill level of what Michael Jordan was. But man, if they think GOAT talks are bad now, LeBron gets another one with Luka before he retires, boy, I am staying out of the ring. I'm staying out the ring for them conversation. I'm letting them have it.
Well, look, Nico Harrison is being reported on a serious note that he has hired full-time security to guard his home after the Luka Doncic trade. He's even been subjected to death threats. Security is going to have to be beefed up. Look, I understand people are, and rightfully so, frustrated with the trade, but that is totally unnecessary. I wish Nico Harrison and his family nothing but the best. Wish him nothing but well. But I understand fans that you have every right to be frustrated and furious with the trade, but not to the point of death threats. But what is so shocking to me, guys, and I'm surprised no one brought this up. Guess who also won? Jerry Jones. Because we talked about all the bad moves from the Dallas, from him hiring Brian Schottenheimer as his head coach to Matt Eberflus as his defensive coordinator. Just when you thought that the Dallas Cowboys made bad decisions, Nico Harrison was like, "Hold on, let me go hold on to my beer. I'm gonna make a horrible move."
Jerry Jones is
That's
not the
what's
worst executive in Dallas anymore.
Lord have mercy.